Hello, everybody. This is June 3rd, and today I have a great pleasure to have a very interesting guest, astrologer from Argentina. His name is Daniel, and I love his work. I found him by chance and directly understood that this is going to be a potential collaboration, but we will see. I'm going to introduce him to all of you, and I would like also to show you a little part of his work in English before we will start the interview.
A year ago, I anticipated the great conjunction between Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto in 2020 was going to repeat the narrative of 2001, but bigger, because in that moment the great opposition occurred in the south of the Milky Way, but now the great historical conjunction occurs in the north. And I say that when Mars crossed the three planets, it was going to be.
So, hello, Daniel.
Hello, Osher. How are you? Hello, everybody. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm very much happy. We are finally here speaking, and this is great work what you are doing. When you started with this?
I began the channel on astrology specifically on 2017 when it was the Great American Eclipse. That was my first horoscope. Since then, it changes a lot because at that time I just learned astrology and was doing general horoscopes, right? Like most, just describing the influence, right? The upcoming changes. But now, since I began to study it in detail and in specific dates, especially related to what a lot of people call occultism, and that is managed. It is common knowledge now that in high spheres of government, they're really involved in that kind of stuff. And what is called astral magic. That is some sort of synchronization between rituals on Earth, ceremonies that reflect the movements of the star, the meaning of the high spheres. And I start to making exact predictions on exact dates, especially related to the return of 2001, when was the first the great opposition between Jupiter and Saturn on the south of the Milky Way, and now is opposing to Pluto, which at that time was on the north of the Milky Way, exactly on the constellation of Ophiuchus, that is the Eye of Horus. And now in 2020, that cycle gets completed and closed and inverted, because we have Saturn and Pluto making a great conjunction with, Saturn and Jupiter making a great conjunction to Pluto on the north of the Milky Way. So we have a complete closing of the cycle. And
Just a second. I confused now. You say that now we are going to have Jupiter and Pluto, Jupiter and Saturn, opposition to where Pluto was, or where exactly Pluto? Because Pluto is in Capricorn.
Exactly. In 2001, there was Saturn and Jupiter opposing Pluto. And now we got Saturn and Jupiter conjuncting Pluto.
Conjuncting.
From a great opposition.
Yeah.
From a great opposition. Yes. If I sometimes make a little mistake, please tell me, because English is not my native language, and there is a delay between what I am thinking and what I am speaking.
All fine.
I have to make a little extra time to process it.
No.
But it's basically a great opposition to Pluto, to a great conjunction with Pluto. So that cycle is closing, and we just have the governor of the United States saying that cycle of 9/11 is closed, and then some other people of the government saying that is the new 9/11. So you see, it's a complete closing and return, and of course expanded, because
You are
With Jupiter, everything gets
you are
expanded.
speaking the new 9/11 is the pandemic or the other event that expected to arrive?
Well, it's a whole process because we just have the government saying that this pandemic was the new 9/11 just when Jupiter makes its conjunction, when Jupiter enters the conjunction, because we just have the conjunction between Pluto and Saturn, but without Jupiter. And in the moment that Jupiter enters the conjunction and gets trapped, o sea, meaning the great benefactor, that is Jupiter, gets trapped in the middle of Saturn and Pluto, which are both the great malefics, that moment is what the government of the United States say this is the new 9/11. And now we are going to be retrograding when Jupiter will come out of the conjunction again. Then we are going to see like a returning time before the conjunction, before the pandemic. But then when Jupiter enters again, it's gonna be again and all 9/11 until December and the beginning of 2021 when it comes out of the conjunction.
I totally agree. I totally agree. That's what I'm saying. And for Mars also.
Yeah.
This is right now in June 6th, in June 30th, Jupiter and Pluto are going to meet for the second time. In the first time, it was the declaration also of the World Health Organization about pandemic. And the last time, and I'm telling everybody, wait for a huge surprise because they will meet, Jupiter and Pluto will meet for the last time in November in 22 degrees, which is the same degree that Saturn and Pluto met. So it's totally a moment of a closure just by this indication, but you are looking on the things in a very interesting way with the pangrammas, you say, with the circle of, how you call to this form? Pentagram, how you call?
The pentagram.
Yeah, the pentagram.
The 5-point start. Yes, because right now, today, which day is this? It is 3?
June 3rd.
Yes, today the Venus pentagram closed. And in the great conjunction between Jupiter and Saturn is the upright pentagram. The Venus pentagram is the inverted with the point down in the Milky Way. This is the concept. Every time the Venus and the Sun, Venus in retrograde, right? And the Sun made a conjunction is like a print, like a point in a sign, right? And every 2 years approximately, they make this. Venus go retrograde and conjunct the Sun, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at where those points are done, it forms a pentagram, right? Exactly an inverted pentagram, because one point is on the sound of the Milky Way, which is today, is in the 13th degree of Gemini, the sign of Gemini, but in the constellation of Taurus in the south is exactly above the club of Orion, the hunter, right?
Tell a few words about Orion.
Yes, Orion is like he was the great hunter of ancient mythology. It was, what should I say? It was, in Hebrew, it came from the word, the fool, right? Which is the equivalent of, in tarot card, is the Joker. And what do you see all over the world? The Joker, the Joker mask, the Joker paints, the movie The Joker, in the protest.
It's very typical to Gemini sign also, that now it's right there.
Exactly, the two-face.
What is your interpretation to this to this conjunction that is just exactly this retrograde is just on this place?
Yes, one of the things that I pointed out in my last video is that it makes a complete synchronization with the card of the Tarot of Death, because the card of the Tarot of Death has the Venus pentagram and the Sun on the twins, on twin pillars, which is the card 13, right? Is a dark knight over a horse, which is stepping on humans, right?
Uh-huh.
And right now we have exactly the same image: the Sun on the twins with Venus on the 13th degree,
This
which
is
is the number of that card.
yeah,
And
this
what
is
you see all
exactly-
over the United States, dark cops in riot gear, dark over horses, riding on horses, on white horses,
exactly the
stepping on
image.
people,
Yeah,
stamping on people. Not only that, that you have in the card, there are people kneeling before the horse. And there was an immense ritual where people kneel for in protest for the murder of the black guy
yeah,
that was
yeah.
killed by a cop kneeling on his neck. Not only that, that it happened on the twin cities, like Gemini, and there was a basketball player saying that the guy that they killed was his twin, metaphorically his twin. Not only that, that you have a guy just, I think it was yesterday, a guy that it went viral because came out of a car with a bow and arrow to shoot at people on the protest. And the guy, the archer, is right where the conjunction is happening, because it's the constellation of Sagittarius. And that is where the nodes are. The nodes just happen to be, just enter to in the sign of Gemini and the sign of Sagittarius. So you see, it's all exactly the same
Just
image.
a second, I missed something. What for you is the Sagittarius symbolism in this case?
The archer.
Okay, and the horses, of course, also.
Of course, the horses. I was just referring to the guy that just came up to shoot with bow and arrow, but you have also the horses.
Yeah, but all something that I would like to add to here. We just shifted the nodal axis in May 5th to Gemini Sagittarius. The south node is in Sagittarius, meaning that this is the patterns that we will need to release. I think even that it's so typical in this axis to see a lot of protest and a lot of deviation between opinions of people, but the way that people are protesting right now, it's very Sagittarius way, burning and doing all these big things, because the direction that anyhow it seems that we are needing to break the system or to change the system or to revolutionize the system should be related to the Gemini pole, because it's the north node in Gemini. And Gemini direction is a positive direction to guide people how we should protest, is not through the old-fashioned war in the street, one against other and firing, but through gathering information between ourselves, starting using cryptocurrency instead of the government dollar, starting to ban the governments through our information and contracts, finding solution to protest in a smart way and in a small way. The dots together are connecting and not just all this. But it's so typical when the nodes just starting the axis that the consciousness is very low and people are falling to the Sagittarius state of mind. But we are also seeing a crisis with the airlines, because Jupiter is also ruling travels, and we're definitely going to see major bankruptcies of airlines. And it's interestingly enough, that in the same past eclipse in January, the south node in Capricorn met with Jupiter in Capricorn. It was both in 8 degrees. And by today, as we're recording this video, Chiron and Uranus in 8 degrees as well. And this is showing all what is escalating with lose of control of the capitalistic state, as we see. And Jupiter South Node that we saw in the 6 months ago, very much relating to chaos. And it's the beauty of eclipses, because eclipses are giving us projection for 6 months ahead. And we are just speaking now 2 days before the next eclipse, the lunar eclipse.
Yes, yes. In fact, in the 6th, in 3 days, we have a lunar eclipse.
Yeah. But you say the 6th, I always say it in the 5th.
The eclipse?
Yeah.
It could be the 5th or 6th in a couple of days, right?
Yeah, in the Middle East.
In a couple of days, we have a lunar eclipse right on top of the Milky Way, where of course the nodes are. And that eclipse is going to be using astrocartography, right? It's going to project on all the eastern continent, right?
Or the Middle East.
Where the June eclipse is going to cross. So what we're going to see all over Europe, right, in 2 or 3 days, then is going to be activated on the eclipse on June 21. So in a couple of days, we're going to see just a sample of where it is going to just explode on June 21. So these days that come right ahead are going to be a little sample to the end of June.
Yeah, to the end of June for sure, because this is a lunar eclipse in Sagittarius, to my opinion. And the next, if we are speaking about Sagittarius, lunar eclipse in Sagittarius, we need to look on Jupiter. And Jupiter is going to meet for the 2nd time with Pluto in the end of June. So definitely what will start now in this eclipse going to show us some major impact, but is also going to be very much related to the United States.
Yes, exactly. I have the eclipse on June 21 is also very close to Mercury, that rules Gemini, of course, and Jupiter and Pluto start making the conjunction exactly the next day. On the 22, not exact, but they are going to be on the same degree. And if you look at my videos where I give really specific examples, the big events start happening when the planets are just in the same degree. They don't have to be the exact conjunction. When they are on the same degree, the event hits, the shift happen. And it's going to be the exact next day of the eclipse. You have the eclipse on June 21 and the conjunction between Jupiter and Pluto on June 22nd.
What would you like?
One right at the...
What with the symbolism that you are watching for this June 2020? What comes to your mind with this symbolism to happen in Europe and in the US? Because in the US, from the end of June, I see already again conjunction, opposition to Mercury of the United States. But what do you think?
Yes.
What sort of symbolism, even without giving the exact scenario?
Yes, no, you have to think, this is how I see it. First of all, the nose, which is what causes the eclipses, right? Imagine that the south node is like a black hole,
yeah.
right? And the north node is like a supernova, the opposite, right? It's like a wormhole. It's like the south node sucks what is there and transport it to where the north node is, right? So what you're going to see is first all the Sagittarius energy taken into the Gemini axis. The fire of Sagittarius take it into everyday communication, because that is Gemini. everyday communication.
Try to be
In
more.
Sagittarius is the big astral fire, right?
Mm-hmm.
And an eclipse, if you think about it very, very simple, is a ring of fire.
Okay.
And I was just reading in Hindu and Hindu mythology, that ring of fire, it will be like a gate between the, the world of the dead, hell, and the world of the living, earth. So it's like that eclipse is going to be like, imagine the kid with a magnifying glass burning up the ants, all crossing all the eastern continent, Africa, Europe.
Just a second. You are speaking about the
Be
lunar
like a ring of fire crossing all that.
but you are speaking about the lunar eclipse or about the solar
No.
eclipse? The solar
The
eclipse.
solar eclipse.
Yeah.
Yes, but the
It's going to be
lunar,
on the Middle East.
exactly. The lunar eclipse that is going to happen in a couple of days is going to be like a sample of what is going to be planted. So when the solar eclipse activated in June 21 is going to ignite all that.
Of course. And specifically, the Jupiter and Pluto are going to meet for the second time in a week after,
Exactly.
and to do
Exactly.
opposition to Mercury of the United States. This is going to be something huge in economy, and also so much Gemini energy about data. Also could be electricity breaking, shut off, because you know they just did the curfew, in New York. That
Of course.
you cannot. So we're going to see military and horses and stopping people like in biblical time that people are speaking with those energies to activate it. What would you?
Now that you say that, in 2019, before what was called the Great Argentinian Eclipse, because it was crossing what was about this time, but in 2019, a year ago, it was going to cross Chile and Argentina. I made a video what it was going to bring. That in the video I say that it was going to be like some sort of blackout, right? And on the day of the election that just followed that eclipse, here was a complete blackout of Argentina and the surrounded countries. So what we are going to see on...
What do you mean blackout? What happened in Argentina?
A complete blackout. During an entire day, it was Father's Day, and I say that it was going to be like a blackout of a father figure. And exactly on Father's Day, and it was the day of the election that the president of that time started to lose. That day was Father's Day and election day, and it was a complete blackout. The entire power system of entire Argentina and the surrounding countries just went away. Of course, the government said it was an accident, whatever.
Yeah.
It was impossible to say it was an accident because the entire country and the surrounding countries collapsed. Wow. It was insane.
Wow. And it's another.
So that is going to. Is going to bring the June 21 eclipse. So thanks for reminding me that.
Wow. So very much. What would you alert to people? People are traveling now. It's very much high risk. And you know what's crazy? We are just speaking that Mercury right now is starting the shadow area. It's going to retrograde inside of this eclipse's time. So it will create more confusion, and Mercury is retrograde in Cancer. So it will be so much even difficult to assimilate emotions, and it's also could be related to food and to supply of liquids or of gasoline in this area where the eclipse is going to occur.
Yes. When you see my videos, you see that I always try to end with a positive note. I don't like to. When I speak about big events and catastrophes, I always speak on the terms that a lot of these things, of course, are staged. People already know that there are a lot of staged things, right? Riots, a lot of times people I follow a lot of channels that are on the street recording this and show that a lot of times the riots are started by the same people in the police, it's crazy.
Yeah, it just
so
the media.
and so until all this conjunction ends at the end of 2020, right? And Jupiter comes out of the other side to Aquarius and leave it, that is going to be the when we can say it's over, right? The great apocalypse is over.
But
so
we don't need 50 years to do a couple to destroy. We can destroy in 7 days. Greatest wars happened in very short period of time. So indeed, we are speaking that from December we are going to a new time frame. But how to prepare or engage with life during the coming 6 months, that seems to be crazy. I'm saying that the first part of 2020 was just a preparation to what this part is now going to be.
So the thing that I'm trying to keep in mind is this. First of all, when all this thing hits hard, that is going to start now, because we are starting to see how we are repeating 2019, when there was all the big protests, and now they are happening again. So remember, we are going back in time, and then to 2019. And then when the planets advance again, we are going to go back in time to 2020, right? So when you see that happening, you gotta start thinking that a lot of what is happening is not real. When we were told right up front in 2020 that there was going to be a great pandemic that was going to kill millions, a lot of people believe it, and most of the people that I know didn't die from a virus. Most people don't even know people that have the virus. So there are not millions of people dying because of the virus. And right now, a lot of the protests are being staged. So what you have to keep in mind that a lot of the things, although they have real consequences because people act accordingly to these scripts, right? A lot of this is not real. So you have to try to keep it together until 2021. This is
just a second. You're saying many things, and I already connected it to all of my knowledge, and I'm afraid that some people are totally disconnected. What you are speaking about to stay until 2021, to wait? What is this deviation? Try to be more descriptive.
Yes, it's like right now until 2020, we are going to enter freaking apocalypse with people seeing, right? Even though it's constantly on the TV, not right on your doorstep, right? But of course, it has real consequences because most people, although they don't have millions of friends dying because of a virus, a lot of us are afraid to go to the store because police can tell you that wear a mask or whatever, right? So we are going to see an incrementation of that pressure. And what I mean is, as this will increase until the end of 2020, which is the next big eclipse, because on December 2020 is an eclipse, a total solar eclipse,
Argentina,
on the north of the Milky Way, and
on Argentina and Chile.
I got it right here. Wait. This is what most people haven't, the one following this whole astrological conjunction, The exact date of the conjunction is on December 21, right? Everybody knows that. But the total solar eclipse is on 14 December on 2020.
Which is the same day that Jupiter and Saturn meet.
Exactly. And on the 15th, Jupiter and Saturn already are on the same degree. So it's happening all at once, right? So until that time, what I mean is, since you asked me, what do you say people that are seeing all these things coming strong, right, and fast, is that you have to remember that you have to synchronize with the energy of Jupiter. Jupiter is the great benefactor. You don't have to fall to the fear of Saturn or to the complete breakdown of Pluto. Pluto is a complete breakdown, right? And it's gonna feel like if reality is gonna like break down, what is happening? A lot of people is gonna be, what is happening?
It's already.
Right? Mm-hmm. So if you tune in to the energy of Jupiter, which is a great benefactor and represent truth, right? Mm-hmm. and optimism, we are right now seeing it being crucified right in the middle of Saturn and Pluto. But if you tune to that energy, when it comes out, if you have it in mind that when it will come out on December 2021, after the conjunction.
2020.
Yes, but it starts coming out on 2021. January 2021, it crosses the conjunction.
Yes.
So it's like the end of 2020 is the end of all this big apocalypse. And once 2021 starts and Jupiter crosses to the other side, that is when it's come the big relief. So you have to, instead of following the astrology and the events day by day, minute by minute, you already can now synchronize with the energy of Jupiter already crossing. That energy has already crossed. In the future has already crossed.
Because this is the
and in the astral plane, right? Tell me.
This is the energy of Jupiter. Look far, but it's so risky right now. We cannot see beyond the far because right now it's in the black hole. It's like in a very uneasy time and near to Pluto. So we could not even look into January. We are so much stuck right now, it's like the energy is putting you are now in emergency. And when you are hungry or where you are in a war, I cannot tell you, focus on the day that it will finish. It's also in the background. But in the moment is like putting you that I need to take care of myself from this enemy, from other enemy, and how to survive. So we are such in a chaotic, without ability to see the future. And the
exactly, that is the point of what that is happening.
Only in December. It's going to be darker and darker, it feels like, into December. And from December, from the darkest point, something is opened. And then we get the square of Pluto, of Saturn and Uranus. So it's just indicating about the collision between the new world to the old world. But it seems that a lot of strong energies are right now starting bubbling up, and we are going to see more. And now this is another release here because many planets are in retrograde, and suddenly the most retrograde starting to liberate from October. So it seems on the same time after June, what will happen. It will be a sort of a window that I still cannot describe exactly what will happen, but it's sort of a release. July.
You know what is the big shift that is going to come now is that Mars, that now is in Pisces, and is when Mars passes right after the pandemic was declared and Mars crossed the conjunction. And it was declared the war on the pandemic, right? Mars is war. Pluto is the invisible enemy. And they declare the war on the invisible enemy exactly like the script. It's a freaking script. It cannot be more clear. If you have, in the moment that Mars hit Pluto, you declare a war on an invisible enemy, you are screaming, I am following the freaking script of the stars. Give me a break. It's like, if you know the language, you know that they're bullshitting you. It's funny. When I a year ago, I described all this word by word, and when I saw it happening, I was like, what? It's like a movie. It's like a freaking movie. And what happened? The point that I was making was this. When Mars crossed the conjunction and then crossed Aquarius with his society, all the protests started against the lockdown, right? It was social war. Mars war, Aquarius society, social war, right? But now it's in Pisces.
Last month. Okay, yeah. Okay.
Right? And now it's in Pisces, which drowns him, right? Pisces takes the energy out of Mars because Mars is fire.
But
and
Mars
Pisces
doing exact square. Mars is about to do exact square to the eclipse.
Exactly. When it hits Aries, which is his signs, is going to be the war, not social war, but the war of the individual, because Aries is the self, right? So it's not, you're not going to see a organized protest. You're going to see all of a sudden people that are going to just say, screw the lockdown, screw the government.
Exactly.
You're going to see people, and that Mars scenario is going to be to the end of 2020. So you're going to see people rebelling by themselves.
Exactly. And this is very much will help, you know, Gemini and Aries are in harmony. And the direction to the nodes right now in Gemini, it's to rebel each one like a smart one. I'm not going anymore to put my money in the bank. I'm not going anymore to trust on this of the things of the structure. And people will rebel against what right now they are burning the banks. They will rebel the banks in another smarter way, like in an individual way, and not just masses on the streets doing something. This is something also to take in mind. But it seems that because it's also the curfew right now in some cities in the US that the people cannot go out and military is occupying the streets, is also speaking about dictatorial time, that people will feel and notice horses in the street and polices that people, and also Mars in Aries could also, in United States specifically, could arouse the use of the guns, of personal protection. People will take the rules to their hands. Not all people know to use crypto or other things. They just will start to protect themselves.
Exactly.
So it will be self-defensive, and it's going to be very, very, very violent.
Yeah.
Right.
All those civil wars scenarios that were being projected into the mind, right, into the media, and that people shouldn't have guns. Well, it's going to come into place right when Mars enters Aries. Is when it enters.
Give me a second. Give me a second. Go on.
No problem.
So tell me.
What I was saying is that what you just described, that is going to hit when Mars enters Aries, is going to be exactly on March 28. June 28. So we have the eclipse on, and the conjunction between Jupiter and Pluto.
I missed something. Who declared, and what about June 28? What you read?
Mars enters Aries.
Okay, yeah. Exactly.
So we have the eclipse on June 21. The next day, the conjunction between Jupiter and Pluto, and then on the 28th, Mars enters Aries. So that is going is going to hit that self-defense, and it's like Mars in Aries is the men on fire. That is exactly the symbolism. Men on fire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and add to this that Chiron is in Aries right now. Chiron in Aries is a process of the next 5-6 years. And I said since it's just started that it's going to bring issues with the men, with the masculine energy, of issues with identities and people to define themselves, also countries. And it's like, you know, Chiron is the symbolism of the half horse, half human. That is like
Yes.
something that could.
Yeah, the center. Yes. Yeah, and we already are seeing glimpse of that.
Yeah. And
So,
Mars is going to meet Chiron. When it just will
exactly,
enter
yes.
there and it will meet Chiron. So it's very much painful.
I got it. Is going to meet on the 9th degree of Aries on the 14th of July.
Yeah.
And in that moment, Jupiter has, in retrograde, right? Jupiter has come out again of the conjunction where it was before it entered. So it's like we're going to get back like before of the pandemic, right before of the pandemic. Like the beginning of 2020, before they declared the lockdown, between January and March.
So you are very much doing a big deal with Jupiter. You are understanding the world situation according to the Jupiter relationship in all this conjunction area.
Because you have to imagine this. You have the big event that we have right now that has touched the entire world is the pandemic and the lockdown, right? Beyond the protest, because there were protests there, over there, and some places no so much, but the pandemic and the lockdown is in everyone's mind. It was coronavirus is a word that was printed in everyone. Everyone knows that freaking word now. It's the big event that connects everyone. Everyone has it in their mind. And that happened just when you have Saturn and Pluto, and Jupiter was coming. And when Pluto entered that tunnel, that's when the lockdown and the pandemic was declared, right? Jupiter now is in the middle. When it returns and comes out again, it's going to be like we return in time. We have a relief. Things are not so bad. We are like 2019 again. But then they're going to go back in direct, and it's going to enter. And when it enters, it's going to be like again, and then until December and coming out. Why I'm focusing on Jupiter? Because Jupiter is the great benefactor. And when it enters Aquarius, Jupiter, what I have observed, right? What I have observed by my own experience, when Jupiter hits Aquarius, it's like a great exaltation for Jupiter, because Jupiter is that big expansion. Is in ancient times is why the god of lightning, right? Electricity, like you say, like the electricity of the airwaves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that big ether, right? The electrifying field of the astral. And in Aquarius is the structure of the
society.
Aquarius is air, right? Aquarius is the internet. So it's like going to electrify the internet. It's going to be like that when Jupiter, when 2021 starts, Jupiter is going to expand the internet.
But not just the internet, the blockchain, the entire system, because the block is a symbolism of Saturn. And Jupiter is meeting with Saturn. And for the first time in air sign after many years. And this is going to expand the internet and the structure of before, and to do here a new structure that probably will favorize a lot the blockchain or the cryptocurrency world, that could also indicate about the collapse of the dollar. Because maybe it's not that just crypto suddenly become the highest value, it's just a hedging product that when dollar suddenly value less, it still will keep you as a protection. People are speaking about gold. By the way, what is the symbolism, do your assumption of gold, to which planet and sign? Gold.
In astrologically speaking, the big gods in they are Jupiter and Saturn, because Saturn, it will be like the strict side of God, and Jupiter will be like the benevolent side of God.
No, I asked about gold, oro, gold.
Gold. No, gold is very simple. You have first the sun, that is clear, but it would be in Aquarius or in Taurus. Yes, because in Taurus you have solid, right? Is matter.
It's the physical gold.
The sun in Taurus is physical, but the sun in Aquarius is, I think, is the electronic money.
Of course.
Is the virtual gold. The virtual gold is the sun in Aquarius, and we're gonna have the sun in Aquarius on the 20th of January. That is a very important date, because I mentioned it in my first videos. The Constitution of the United States has an amendment called the 20th Amendment. 20, right? 20 Amendment, which modified the Constitution so that the inauguration of the president happened on January 20. Why? Because the sun enters the 0-degree Aquarius, which is the point that is right between the two signs ruled by Saturn, which are the signs of government. You have Aquarius ruled by Saturn, Capricorn ruled by Saturn, and that in that middle degree, when the sun enters there and is the change, all the season has changed, right? That is when they declared they made the 20th Amendment for the inauguration of the president, right? So in that moment, you can actually say that is that the manifestation of the virtual gold. And in 2021, we are going to have
a lot of people in my channel and that are following or trying at least to combine the astrology with this are still speaking about the gold, and okay, we accept all of people that all the fiat money and the dollars that banks are printing is valueless and just sort of a system that all are dependent and has no real connection with value. And people are speaking about gold, buying physical gold, and right now it's impossible to reach gold because the miners are shutting off and difficult to ta-ta-ta. And we are going to another era. This meeting of Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius this December is also a sort of as a signature to a shift of valuing even money or what and how government is measuring the things. And with all what we just describing in the coming months, with so much fire and Aries and protection and all this lockdown and horses in the street, that, you know, in this not many years ago, the US avoided Americans to hold gold and they obliged them to sell it back to government in a fixed price. So people are thinking with this fake liberty that we are having right now, that if they will have a lot of gold, they will save their savings that they have and will survive whatever crisis will come. They are considering the old paradigm with a new concept of what, but they don't do the shift to a futurist sort of asset because maybe it's not comfortable to them to learn technology. They think that the internet is just something that could be shut off, even that we are seeing that a lot of satellites right now are installed and many things of our data, even if the Earth is completely shut down, a lot of data are still backed in satellites that are installed all over right now. And this is also indication of Pluto that will enter in the next years to Aquarius. It's very much about what is happening in the space and all the data information. So data isn't going anywhere. If it's not the internet, it will be maybe a SpaceNet. We will call it other name, but information and air communication will continue. to another evolution phase. And people that are not changing the paradigm, and this is all the crisis of Sagittarius right now. It's like, I know how it's going to be. It's all what for generation you were educated or educated in a sort of a brainwash, not as Gemini. It's like the no, I know, oh, my father, my grandfather always did this is the business. It's all about to change right now. And we need to find new paths. This is the Gemini way. And to start even with something small and new that will grow in the future. But people directly want to go with the main trend that everybody are speaking, with where the majority are going, with Jupiter direction. It's also indication that we need to find individual ways. And together with Aries stuck in Mars in Aries, is about find your own way to do the things and connect with like-minded people. Yeah, we agree, and I love that you have a different perspective to interpret the information and your point of view. What do you think about Argentina? Because I also have an assumption that this huge conjunction that is closing so many cycles inside this December, and together with the total eclipse above Argentina, that seems to me like, in a biblical description words, like the shift of the poles, like that maybe something will happen in the northern hemisphere, that suddenly our underdogs country, Venezuela, and down until Argentina, that were suppressed by the manipulation of the West, and always measure their little money for dollars in order to get values, is about to shift. Because maybe something is going to, and also to remember that gold and all the resources came from South America. They stole it from here, the Spanish and the English land, the Portuguese, killed all the natives and took this to their advantage there. It seems to me that this reset of this solar eclipse that will happen and in Capricorn, right? It's a solar eclipse in Capricorn, which is the last eclipse of Capricorn, which is speaking about the reset of the capitalism, is happening above Argentina, that suffered and anyhow is not being able to pay the debt that is owing right now. So I wonder if it's going to be a shift of the poles, that suddenly the South America is going to rise and to offer value on a different system, not on the current system, when Europe and many places in the Northern America are going to suffer other challenges. Also, positive immigration to South America, where more easy to grow food and more easy to get access to natural resources. What do you think?
Well, what the eclipse is going to bring is, first, that it also, the December eclipse, it also crosses Argentina.
Yeah.
So that it was called the Great Argentinian Eclipse because the cycle started in 2019, what is called the total solar eclipse that crosses Chile and Argentina, and now is going to close that cycle with the December eclipse, right? That also closed Argentina. And during this period of time, what we have seen is again a return to 2001. First, the first clear sign was that the vice president right now is the same that was on 2000 that came into power in 2001 with the crisis right there that ended up with the resignation of the president. That it was a big deal because it was captured on camera supposedly escaping on an helicopter, right? So now what is going to happen is that is a complete return to 2001, and a lot of people is going to say, okay, we are going back in time. This is like it's happening again, right?
But you could not.
And it's going to be like an inversion. What you were speaking of, politically speaking, is like there's going to be like a like a rise in nationalism, right? In political terms, people are always speaking socialism versus nationalism, right? Right versus left. And what is going to really consolidate, I think, is going to be like that. What is called the rise of nationalism. That is going to be the inversion, right? It's going to be like you say, if you want that others don't come and steal your resources, you, instead of speaking globally, you have to change to national. It is the simple language. So it's going to be that language thrown out into the.
And how do you have any idea if you're a little bit in realizing what's happening in the economic structure? How is it such a thing going to impact on Argentina area that right now is in a bad place? And by the way, 2001, it was the Corralito effect that people lost 75% of their, and this is something that can happen also to Spain and other places, that suddenly they will convert their euro to local currency and they will get much less than what they should have before. So
yes.
It seems that people are going to completely shift the value of what they have.
Exactly, because right now we are seeing a glimpse when people was forbidden to continue working because of the pandemic. So it's like a similar story. You can get out in 2001, people couldn't get out the money of the banks. In 2020, people cannot go to work to make money. So it's, again, you see the same tale. And right now, instead of converting something to a foreign money, what we could see is start forced conversion into digital money. Right now, no, you cannot touch your physical money anymore. Now your money is going to be converted into digital money, but by force. But right, like
what you want. And according to value that you could buy maybe the half of what you could buy before, even.
Exactly.
Digital money, anybody suddenly in crypto, of government crypto, that its own currency is totally different value.
Yes.
Like crazy. What you have any with the symbolism, if you had any chance to look on the next year transit and symbolism, to illustrate here what sort of scenario can it be, or what best to offer? Because you know the square of Saturn and Uranus in the first part of 2021, even in the first 6 months of 2021, is very much indicating about a big battle between the futurist money, between people, between the internet to the old structure. And this is a big square of the evolution in the past. And
yes, that is why I am looking at the energy of Jupiter and Aquarius, because of that square. Because Uranus in Taurus, right? Making that square is instability, because Uranus is surprise, but aspected, which is a square, is like a pressure, like a challenge that is pushing you to move, right? So is instability in Uranus in Taurus is going to be 7 years. So the instability of value is going to be for 7 years. They're going to try to play that card for 7 freaking years. They're going to repeat it and repeat it and repeat. So that is why I am seeing Jupiter in Aquarius. That is the energy that you have to focus if you want a positive outcome, because Jupiter in Aquarius is,
it seems to me,
it's going to be the big liberation, but it's not going to be.
But you know what? I want to tell you something. It's so important for my viewers and also for your viewers. Jupiter last time that was in Aquarius, it was in 2009-10. And what started in this time? First of all, the end of the of the financial crisis, and the stock market started to rise from March 29 to 2009. And crypto, Bitcoin, born in January, in January 4th, 2009, if I'm not mistaken. So actually Bitcoin, the people that bought Bitcoin around this time, even 1 year after, are literally rich right now because they did thousands of profits despite of all the ups and downs that happened. Most of people actually did the maximum profit in 2017, where Bitcoin reached the $20,000. And it was beginning in this time. So it's another important for this January for a lot of people. For new
Exactly. And it was accompanied by something else. From 2009, in the 2000s was the internet, right? In the 90s, everybody have a PC on their house. In the 2000s, now everybody have the PC and the internet. But in the 2010s, when Jupiter entered Aquarius,
smartphones,
right, crosses Aquarius, the phones. So what is going to be is the phone now is going to become your wallet, right? That is the trend that, right now we're going to see like the expansion of this, of the phone, right? The phone is going to, again, the phone, in the internet phone is going to, from 2021 is going to explode. That is where you, if you want
because Jupiter
a benefit is that.
Yeah, but this is even going to be more crazy because this year is a culmination of 2000, because this is the axis of Sagittarius, Gemini.
It's completely close.
So all the eclipses will happen on the Sagittarius Jupiter line of advancement, of expansion to something brand new, and very much in the beginning of 2021. Yeah.
See, right now, what people should be doing, if you want to think ahead, like you asked me, is sometimes I don't talk a lot about economics because I haven't been following. That you see in my videos, I talk about big political events, right? Big political.
It's amazing. The geopolitics are
but I don't follow exactly the economic part. But if we follow it, we just make a great. You just make a great correlation. The Bitcoin on when Jupiter was in Aquarius. So what you can be doing right now is thinking ahead, implanting everything. So when Jupiter hits Aquarius, you can collect all that. It hits. It's like, imagine right now everybody in the media and in the politics are telling you, don't think about the future. Just think about the right now, so you don't see what is coming. But with this, we can see what is coming. We have demonstrated.
That's why
so many times.
Aquarius is astrology.
So right now, what you can do is this: you come out a little bit of what everything is happening. You see that the energy of Jupiter in Aquarius, which is the big expansion of the cell phone, right? What happened in 2010, cell phones, internet, social media, and virtual money, and you can plant everything right now, even though it's not going to bring you a
direct, instant incomes.
Now, it's going to just give you when Jupiter is in Aquarius. And you plant, and you plant, and you plant, and you plant. And when Jupiter hits Aquarius, it's just going to be like it's going to just fall into your lap.
Yeah, but not. We are not speaking about taking profits. We are speaking that you are going to be on the right seat in the right time, because if you could build your business in 2009 in the middle of the crisis, or even end of 2008, focusing on 2010, that everybody are going to buy their iPhones and the applications, and you did, even the dating sites that were the first that started building application for mobile are still the top. So if I'm telling also businesses, prepare yourself to work online, prepare yourself to give services that you will be able to charge with crypto outside of the system, because if you are building a business model that is all based on PayPal or on big institution that will be relative to the digital national money that will be much more devalued of your real value now, it's going to be to your, not to your favor. But if you are building right now to the crypto era and the business model to the crypto era, you will be pretty much on the first front to take advantage of growth. That's what I'm receiving from it. Also, to repeat on how a person could plan his business model looking ahead 3 years ago.
Yes. What I will do, maybe we can start doing this. What we can do to see how we can plant this to 2021 is start looking at charts. Maybe you have done it, of companies that are dedicated to these things, and see how that Jupiter in Aquarius affect them.
Mm-hmm.
Then you see, okay, I put my money on there, or so on, right?
That's exactly what, not exactly, but big part of what I'm doing with the astrofinance. Drawing the aspects on the gains of different.
So remember that. So remember that since you are doing it, just add that variable. When Jupiter hits Aquarius, is the big payout.
But
right on the virtual.
No, it's like the great entry point. I would also say
it is the growth of the internet. Is the expansion of the internet.
Because if you're looking back to Apple shares in 2010, you just see that you would like to put their money around this time, even before. Because what become after 10 years, even 6 years, is so huge profits.
No, it's the start. The you know what is going to be the consolidation of that? Everything that started in 2021 is going to be exactly when Pluto enters Aquarius, which is on 2023, I guess. And Jupiter reach Uranus in Taurus. Right there is going to be the consolidation. What started in 2021 is going to be the consolidation in 2023. And when you think about Jupiter hitting Uranus, right now Uranus is in Taurus. Uranus is the revolution, right? The big surprise, the big change. And Taurus is the material. So it's going to be a huge leap on 3D printing. I think it's going to be a huge leap on 3D printing.
What do you mean? Printing of money?
No. Printing of objects.
Ah, okay, yeah, the 3D printing, even organic even parts.
Yeah, that is going to be a lot cheaper because of all the instability, right? And I think that is going to be the big what is starting, right? The growth of the internet.
But not only, it's also about speaking about it's a potential. This is the fear of people. Uranus could bring technology in Taurus, our body, like chips, or like even printing a heart. You know, there are some industries that can create, instead of implanting a heart from one human to another human, they just can print an organism that will grow naturally. It's also speaking about a crazy improvement in our health science. As part of all this technological evolution. So very much crazy. We're going into a major shift. We could not cover all the aspects.
No, of course. I had it all right in here, but
we will do another.
It's one after the other, after the other, after the other. Yeah. What I will say to sum up is, right now we're going to go back like 2019, and then
from
Jupiter
October
is going to come out a little bit of the conjunction. We're going to see a relief, and then on September is going to enter again, we're going to see right after the other, big shift, like we see.
Between the end of
in
October
2021, start the relief. So keep looking to that Jupiter in Aquarius. You have to plant to that moment.
Yeah, this is the big exit where one wants to be launched, because it's like launching a rocket to the space. But right now we are pretty much with a lot of friction, like the rocket is still crossing the atmosphere. It's a lot of fire and difficulty, and it's the most risky time of launching a rocket until it's moving out from passing out the atmosphere. This is the most risky time, and we are in this moment. And I think that the launch, the strong one, will happen, as you say, between after the retrograde phases of end September, October. Right now, also in this summer, in the Northern Hemisphere, we maybe have July, August, even beginning of September, to set ourselves correctly, each one his position before the stretch, and then you are losing control until you are booming. But it's like finding safest place. This is crazy. Daniel, I don't want this interview to be too long. We are going to do another one in English, but we are definitely going to repeat, not exactly, but on the same topics in another one in Spanish. How people can find you if someone wants to interact, to contact you for reading, for consultation, or for following your channel?
Yes, right now I have the channel on YouTube, the main channel, and the Facebook page, and you can find on Astral Fiction.
Astral Fiction.
Yes, and then you're going to see all the miniatures of the video about the Great Conjunction, which is my main topic, and you will see my face and you'll find me right away.
Amazing.
Astral Fiction.
I will add a link to your YouTube channel, so it will be much easier. And of course, if you're a Spanish speaker, you will enjoy a lot. He speaks a lot of information. You will see a lot. You will need some videos even to listen twice to understand so much information. He's doing an amazing job. I love what you are doing, and I'm very much feeling that we could do something amazing in the future. So we in touch, Daniel, and thank you. Stay with me in a moment.